Arran and Ratana Stephens are the pioneers responsible for organic food in BC. You know, long before it was considered even an option, the Stephens risked it all, and in doing so, they changed the way millions of people in North America consider and consume food. So much of whom we become as we are grown-ups starts with our childhood and the influences at that time. So Ratana, tell me where you were born and talk a little bit about your family.
My parents were refugees. They left everything because of all the riots and trouble that was happening in Lahore. They migrated to UP, means Uttar Pradesh. It's northern India. My father was an entrepreneur. He started the business again, was highly successful. But due to some bad habits and due to disunity in the family, he lost it all. I was brought up on scholarships, bursaries, also taught to young kids, and made sure that I contributed to my family.
So they turned to you for support.
They did. They're all here.
They still do.
They still do. Arran, where were you born?
I was born in Duncan, Vancouver Island. My grandmother was born in Peshawar in India.
Then, in an interesting turn of events, Arran's grandfather was granted land on Vancouver Island, where his parents then raised him.
My parents loved nature. My mother taught me a lot of the Latin names of plants in the area. And my dad, when I was a boy, I would help him out on the farm once in a while, but mostly I loved to eat the berries. And as I was helping him plant sweet corn one day, and he said, "Arab boy, always leave the soil better than you found it." And that became kind of the ethos behind Nature's Path, that we can think of dirt as a metaphor for the earth, the world, the planet. And it's our responsibility to leave the planet better than we found it. And that is kind of the underlying DNA behind Nature's Path.
But life does take surprising turns. His father was a talented songwriter, and he chose to follow his dream. So he packed up the family, and they moved to Hollywood. I imagine that was a shock for you to move from a wonderful farm on Vancouver Island down to Hollywood High School.
It was a shock of my life. It was a tragedy. Many times I cried over it because I missed so much the beautiful blue-green hills of Goldstream and the rivers and streams and the pure air. And I loved solitude. I loved hiking. I loved being in nature. So down there it was smoggy and it was gang violence, and there were a lot of interesting challenges to a young person growing up in Hollywood.
So how did a Canadian lad and a lovely lady from India come to meet each other?
It was destiny, baby. It was destiny.
What's the story?
Why don't you tell a little bit?
A little bit. I was in India studying with my meditation teacher, Sant Kirpal Singh, in 1967. And I spent 7 months there. And at the end of that, I came back to Canada with $7 in my pocket. And I had this aspiration to open a vegetarian restaurant. And I opened Canada's first vegetarian restaurant in 1967 on 4th Avenue. That eventually became a very popular place. Within a year, though, I wanted to go back to India and spend some more time with my teacher. But I went back. And little did I know that I was introduced in India to this remarkable young woman through it was kind of an arranged thing.
Introduction.
The introduction. And without any kissing or dating or anything, Ratana and I were married in a beautiful religious ceremony in 1969, March 4th, 1969.
And you remember you at your mother when you sent a telegraph to your mother? What did you say? That I have been married.
Yes.
with a sacred ceremony.
A sacred ceremony.
And what did she mistook?
She-
Sacred to secret.
She thought maybe it was some kind of a secret marriage, but I think she was a little bit concerned, my mother, that during that time there was, we weren't so multicultural at that time in Vancouver. And she was worried that how would we bring up our kids, because they would be of mixed races, mixed cultures. And I told my mother not to worry about that, that our kids would be loved and cared for, and they would be real contributors to society.
How did you feel about moving to Canada?
There's time in a person's life you just accept. It's an entrepreneurial zest or an entrepreneurial spirit. I'm married to him. Whatever will come, will come. Let's go.
Well, when you started a vegetarian restaurant, as you say, it was the first, so there was no market.
There was no market. We made a market.
And so were you immediately busy and successful in your restaurant?
No, some days, total sales were like under $20. And of course, the expenses were way beyond that. But then James Barber came along, the food writer at that time. He's passed on now, but he wrote this wonderful article about the Golden Lotus. That was the name of the first restaurant. And after that great article came out, it was very tongue-in-cheek, as James Barber always was. And the place was jam-packed. And that was my first lesson in marketing. If you can get your story out there to the public by one means or another, as long as they spell your name right, as Mae West said, then you could be set on your way. So the restaurant became very popular, and from that came the Lifestream Natural Foods on the corner of 4th and Burrard, and that became Canada's first large natural food supermarket. If Coca-Cola can make a great successful business out of selling sugar-flavored water, why can't we become successful creating healthy products, good for you products that are good for the planet and good for people? And so Nature's Path was born out of the back of Ratana's restaurant.
Sidney Poitier actually came to your restaurant at one point.
He wanted Ratana to come and start a big vegetarian restaurant down there, and he would finance it.
And I said no.
You said no, why?
My family is very important, and so is my marriage. Yeah. So, and I love Canada. United States is one of the biggest and prosperous country, but that's not me.
Ratana, how did you get pulled into the restaurant? You were busy raising a family
and I want to do something. I just climbing up the walls. Yeah, the child is there, wonderful, but I want to do something.
So we bought this little restaurant from Victor Yankovic, and Ratana ran it
for
fantastic.
$2,000.
She was making more profit from a restaurant, this little tiny restaurant that was doing maybe $150,000 a year, and the store was doing a couple $1 million a year. She was making more profit with her little restaurant than the big store.
And my people were happy.
And the people were happy. She never had people quit on her.
I understand that at some point, Arran, you asked, Ratana, I need your help.
Oh, I definitely need her help. Our good friend Sid Kaiser would say to me, Sid Kaiser, he said, Ratana can make a nickel scream.
No, the nickels go away. Arran is not a day-to-day operator.
I get bored awfully quickly. Then when Nature's Path was born,
yes,
out of the back of the restaurant. And we were soaking grain to make the sprouts for this organic sprouted bread. It didn't have money to go and buy stainless steel tubs. I went and bought a couple of old bathtubs, and we were sprouting in the bathtubs.
We were talking one day, and I said, Arran, we are producing good food. It's good for people, no chemicals. And then you look at truckloads of Coca-Cola is being sold. We said, yes. I said, why don't we create something that's healthy? And we sell by truckloads.
So we started our first, I'd say the first certified organic breakfast cereal company. We started out in Delta.
Is this where you bought a plant?
We bought the land, and then we built a plant. And
we sold the land to the developer who built
the plant, and then later on, when we could afford it, we bought the land and the building from him.
From him, we bought the land and the building back.
Yeah, but it was such a struggle in those days because we were creating truckloads of cereal that you couldn't sell because it just didn't taste right. It didn't have the right texture, and sometimes the machines, the packaging machines wouldn't work. And Ratana, this is when I came almost on my knees and begged Ratana to come and help me out because I know that she could help me out of this mess that I'd gotten into out there.
You know, I gave Arran $250,000. Okay. I said, Arran, this is the money I have saved. You take that money and you start that business. But don't ask me to join you because we have different opinions. And we love each other, but there are areas that we don't agree. So he said, fine.
Step 1, try to co-manufacture with a supplier in the United States. A supplier who it turned out had a loose definition of organic. He in essence said, organic, schmorganic. Anything with a carbon molecule is organic. Well, that definition left Ratana with a bad feeling. She worried about their integrity, and so they did it themselves.
We had a really rough startup. We're creating truckloads of stuff for the pigs and the cows out in the valley.
Because it just didn't work.
Because he bought turnkey operation, which was experimental.
It was supposed to be turnkey, and it was a lot of money.
It's nothing but turnkey.
But nothing was turnkey about it. So we learned to make cereal the hard way. In fact, on our opening day, we still couldn't make any cereal on the product. So what we did is I sent John, our VP of sales, sent him out to go and get a whole bunch of Kellogg's cornflakes and sprinkle those the cornflakes on the conveyor belts, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. And so...
but what did we tell
The very funny thing was that at the grand opening, people came to me and said, can you turn the machinery on? And we'd like to see how it works. And I said, no, it's going to be too loud, if we turn all the machinery on. So that's what I mean, faking it till you make it. So, not too long after that, we actually figured out how to make it. And we made it differently than our competitors.
So it was in 1990 the plant was opened.
Our cornflakes don't turn to mush, for example, instantly, like the other big brand that's
So
out
that's
there.
innovation. How did you do that?
Well, we didn't know how to make cornflakes, so we made them differently. We made them our own way. And that's true with all of our cereals and all of our products. We now have a team of scientists, food scientists at the company where we have about 750 people in the company, but we have a team of food scientists on staff that are involved in R&D and research and all kinds of stuff like that. So, one thing I think we learned as we go on, that it's good to hire people that are smarter than you, and then you try to build a team of experts, and each, it's like over here you've got the timpani section, and over here you've got the woodwinds, and over there you've got percussion, and you got to get all of these disparate parts of the orchestra working in harmony. Then you can have a symphony. Then you can have.
You're right, but sometimes there's not harmony, so you have to somehow be conductor and make sure.
Yeah, that's our role, and that's her role now. She's the CEO.
How is it working as a husband and wife together?
Very interesting. We have to have separate offices. That's
when he asked me to come and join him, I said two things. I said, one thing, you are not going to have any partner. I'm going to be your partner. We are not going to go in order to expand, to have debt or venture capital. And the second thing, please don't interfere what I'm supposed to do.
She knows how to lay down the law. When we first opened our plant in 1990 in Delta, I had no clue how to run a factory. It was learn on the job, and it was trial and error. And we still make mistakes, we still make mistakes, but now the stakes are much bigger. We have very big competition. And I think during our early years, somehow I felt we were kind of protected by maybe some divine force or something that somehow allowed us to survive when so many others failed. And here we are now, whereas in the beginning, all of our competitors at that time were mom and pops. Now it's like Kellogg's and General Mills and Nestle and all those big companies now. And we're trying to play in their league, although we're so much smaller than them. The thing with us is we're no longer a small company, but we're not, a multi-billion-dollar company either. So we're somewhere in the middle, and that has created a lot of desire in these bigger companies to acquire us. So we used to get like at least 50 offers a year to sell out, and now we get maybe half of that amount to sell out. We're not interested in selling out.
But that didn't mean the offers didn't keep coming. One company in particular just wouldn't take no for an answer. They insisted they be allowed to put their offer on the table.
I looked at Arran. I said, Arran, we might get $40, $50 million. That's a long time ago. I said, what are we going to leave for our kids? Bunch of money? What legacy? What are we doing here?
It was a defining moment. So once again, we come back to the value system that underlies nature's path and everything you do.
Did you ever come to any of the Woodlands Christmas parties?
Not the Christmas
dinner?
parties, no. I missed the invitation.
We offered a free meal on Christmas Day for anyone who was broke, who was hungry, or lonely.
We sometimes had line up. Sometimes we would say, oh, I want to give you money for my food. Nope.
Because we had people come in there that just loved the ambiance of that Christmas dinner, that no place to go, and who are wealthy, and they wanted to give us money for this. And we said, no, we refused.
If you're lonely, come. If you don't have money, come.
Are there any particular philosophers or poets that sort of underlie all of your value system?
To me, the one thing that really has touched me about when I came to this country and was doing well, is a poem, I think it's anonymous, I'm not sure. And I shall not pass this way again. Any goodness I can do, any kindness I can show, let me do it now. Let me not defer it.
Arran, do you remember yours?
It's from one of my mentors, Darshan Singh. It said, I started alone on the journey of love, filled with faith and zeal. At every step, travelers joined me, and soon we became a caravan. Also, the great American mystic poets like Thoreau said in one of his verses, if a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him keep step to the music which he hears, however measured or far away. So I've been kind of marching to my own drummer for all my life, and that music is there, it's present, and I hear it, and I have to follow it.
And we, as Robert Frost said, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled by. Mm-hmm. And that has
made all the difference.
That has made all the difference. So we took organic, good for you, which was not there. We started that journey. So
Well, we're the compost for the next generation. Compost is really big in organic farming. But, you can go down into Stanley Park and you see these wonderful, magnificent stumps, right? That were once huge trees,
Giants.
maybe 12, 15 feet in diameter. And you see them as they're rotting away. You see a new tree growing out of them.
The shoots.
And so just like that, we'll be these stumps someday that the next saplings will to grow out of us, and will form shade for the next generations.
How would you define success?
How do I define success? Having done something useful in this world, having served, the purpose we felt, and we feel this together, that it's not just to make money, but it's to be of service, to provide service, and that the meaning of life is in service.
And to me, success is also making a difference. Whether making a difference by providing healthy organic food, or making a difference in the life of our team members.
The lives of our children, the lives of our grandchildren. We are the result of everyone that came before us. And someday we will be a part of those who come after us.
You have been so generous also with philanthropy. Do you have a strategy of giving? How do you decide?
We look at various causes that we love. The ones that have helped us, what can we do now to help them? So we support Children's Hospital, Vancouver General, St. Paul's, University of British Columbia, UVic, Simon Fraser, different, broader organizations that we're also involved in supporting.
Also, the company's family owned. And so, but we also have our own charity, personal charities. As far as companies concerned, definitely food banks, Garden for Goods, 1% for the planet.
It's 1% of sales, not profits.
And that's where, we direct our funds.
You are both receiving honorary degrees from the University of Victoria.
I don't know why, but...
Well, it's a very special honor. The best part of the program is when the recipients get to speak directly to the students. What would your message be to them? What will your message be to them?
Make a difference.
Make a difference.
Make a difference in this world.
Have a purpose.
Have a purpose, make a difference.
Make a difference. Be resilient.
And
Because you
don't give
definitely will fall down.
Don't give up. A success is a failure that never gave up.
And they've never given up. Ratana and Arran Stephens, true BC legends.